Let me ask you, Tanya Plibersek, these consent laws in New South Wales, is that a moment of bipartisanship that we can start on this morning?
I really hope so. I want to congratulate the New South Wales Attorney-General Mark Speakman and advocates like Saxon Mullins who have campaigned so hard for these changes. I think it's a very important step forward. Of course, there's always more to do with making court processes a little bit easier on victims of sexual assault, but frankly, anything that that takes a few rapists off the street and puts them in jail gets a tick from me.
Indeed, there are still, issues. This is a very difficult area when it comes to the justice system. So there are still those grey areas there. Does it reverse the onus of proof? Do you see some potential problems with it?
No, I think the people who are criticising these changes really need to get a grip. What this is saying is that that when two people are having sex, they need to both be into it, and they need to demonstrate that in some way through word or action. Honestly, it's not that hard. What I say to my son is, if someone's not saying hell yeah, they're saying no. It's not complicated to work out whether someone's into it or not. And freezing because you're terrified, not shouting or crying because you're terrified, that's not consent.
Indeed. Do you think this should be replicated right around the country now?
Well, other jurisdictions do have similar laws. Some other jurisdictions have similar laws, Tasmania, for example. I think it's very important that all states and territories are looking at laws like this, but also how we reduce the re-traumatising impact of going through courts for victims of sexual assault. In New South Wales, the figures are shockingly low. There's an estimated 1 in 10 sexual assault victims will actually report the assault to the police, and of those 1 in 10, about 2 or 3% end up in guilty convictions. That's just not good enough. But law reform is only part of the answer. Of course, we need to change our culture. We need to be, as mothers and fathers, talking to girls and boys from a young age about what healthy, respectful relationships look like and modelling those relationships. Our schools need to start with young people much earlier, in an age-appropriate way, talking about how to be a good friend, how to be an active bystander, to call out bad behaviour if you see it. And of course, one of the other things that really troubles me is the average age of first viewing pornography in Australia today is 10 years old. Like, there is something wrong with teaching our kids about sex by letting them access violent, degrading imagery like that. It's unhealthy.